Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is so very special. We're going to talk about eyeshadow palettes, not just any eyeshadow palettes. These are my best of the best favorite eyeshadow palettes from all the indie brands that I own. I have so many brands, so many palettes in front of me. I'm also going to show you how I achieve this look using one of my favorite palettes. So if you're ready, let's begin. Okay, in no particular order, these are just like kept in front of me. So let me tell you. First, let's start off with Gourmande Girls. I felt like Gourmande Girls have amazing palette all throughout their collection. But my favorite, the color story that resonates the most, because their formula is absolutely top notch. The color story that resonates with me the most is the Frozen Kiss palette. This came out in 2024 and they created such a beautiful cool tone wintry wonderland kind of a color story. I really love the way how they combined the sagey greens and the corals with those blue, purple and like mauve tones, and the shimmers are so amazing, you guys, so amazing. I love that they included these pops for like the inner corner highlight. It gives so much of variety to this palette too. Oh, and these shimmers. This has such a beautiful effect on the eyes. I love this palette so very much, so very much. I will pop all my codes on the screen and in the description box below for you guys so that I don't repeat myself. But yes, this so pretty, so pretty. If you are into purples and blues, this palette is for you. Let's talk about Sigma Beauty. I have a lot of palettes. Also, a disclaimer, I've only included the palettes from the brands that I have multiple palettes from. I have not included like Singe Beauty, although I love their palette, but I only have like one palette from them. So I definitely want to collect more palettes and choose what is my favorite. For example, Fantasy Cosmetica, I have Cradled in Ice palette, but that's the only palette that I own from them. That's not in this list just because it's only one that I own from them. I hope that makes sense. But yes, let's talk about Sigma Beauty. My favorite and my most used palette from them is gonna be the Cool Neutrals palette. This I have mentioned a lot of times. This is such an amazing palette for medium to tan to deep skin tone, I would say, just because the mattes here definitely tend to fall more on the medium category to deep category. There's no mattes in here that is like super light. So I feel like it can be difficult for like a fair tone or a light tone person to get this baby working for them for like an extended period of time. For me, I am more of a medium tan with like neutral undertone person. This beautiful palette is so amazing on the eyes. There is like different shimmer formula. There's like smooth shimmer that's so impactful on the eyes, but they also have like that toppery feeling, like that scattered shimmer kind of an effect. And the mattes, I promise these matte formulas are definitely elevated from the rest of the palettes that they have in their collection. I really love it. Like my favorite quad is this quad, obviously with like mauves and purples. It is so pretty, but I also love to top this polished shade on every look, and it gives such a beautiful effect, twinkling effect on the eyes. Love it. I absolutely love this one. Okay, let's next talk about Kryptein Cosmetics. If you've been following my channel, you know which palette I'm going to talk about, because I am a big purple person and I feel like this is my favorite purple palette that I own in my collection, and I am talking about the Violet Crazy palette. This palette is so pretty. I love the packaging. I absolutely love the packaging. I have a big window in front of me, as you can see. But this color story, yes, it is purple, but it is giving us variety. I love the corals. I love the neutral pops here too, so that you can definitely take it from like a neutral look to a purpley look, but there is some kind of like gold in there, there's champagne in there. It can give us different direction apart from just screaming purple. We also have that green to a purple shifting shade that looks so different and pretty on the eyes. I love this palette. Again, when you see this palette, you have warm tone purples, you have cooler tone purples, you have mauve tones, corals, neutral tones, and to deepen out everything. I would have loved if this shade was a little bit more deep, like a little bit more like a charcoal black would be great. This, it's deep for sure, and they were going in that direction. It is charcoal black, but it is not that deep. I would have taken this shade to like 2 notches more like dark. I really love this palette, really love, and the formula is amazing. I love when Kryptein Cosmetics does smoother shimmers rather than chunkier shimmers. I love, and this palette is full of like that smooth shimmer formula, and there's no chunky shimmer because one, my eyelid are like creasy eyelid. If you can see, there's creases coming on my eyelid. Any chunkier shimmer would crease on my eyelid within like an hour or two. But these shimmers, they're so sparkly, they're so smooth that it never creases on me, and I love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the palette that I am wearing on my eyes because I love this palette to my heart. I loved it when this was released last year. Was it released last year? Yes, it was released last year, and I fell absolutely in love with this. This is the Dead Roses palette. They launched this on their Valentine's Day. This was like an anti-Valentine's Day palette from them. Look at the color story. Look at the color story. It is so pretty. If you are a pink and a purple lover, you would absolutely love it. It's not monochromatic by any means. You might think there's so many repetitive shades, but all these shimmers shift so beautifully. I don't even know if you can see those shifts or not. It is so pretty, so shifty. You will see this eye look towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But this palette is an epitome of like what kind of mattes and shimmers they perform. I love Bella Beaute Bar with my whole heart. I feel like they create formulas that are so buildable, so effortlessly like blendable. The shimmers are just kiss worthy. They are beautiful shimmers. I love everything about this palette and several more of their palettes. I'm still eyeing their Poison Garden palette. I'm just waiting for a sale. I'll definitely grab it because I've heard so many people rave about it, and that is the palette that I go onto their website. I'm like, yes, I should definitely get it. But the next palette that they get, I'll just buy it with that. I really love it. I cannot recommend this enough. So pretty it is. Okay, let's talk about Ladybug Glow. I have Everyday Sparkles from Ladybug Glow. This is their most neutral palette. I'm sorry, you cannot find this palette anymore, but I feel like Ladybug shimmers are just so pretty. This is an everyday palette, but it has like that purpley and the pink twist to it with like green shifts. It's definitely shifty, multi-chromy, but they have also combined it with like specific mattes. I wear this to office a lot. My problem with Ladybug Glow is they don't like stock up their palettes for a longer period of time, so I cannot talk about them for a long period of time because you would not be able to find their palettes. But I had to stay true to me. I absolutely love this palette. These shimmers are my favorite, like so beautiful shimmers. Definitely had to recommend this Everyday Sparkles from Ladybug Glow. Okay, let's talk about Sugar Drizzle. Sugar Drizzle, I feel like, has a lot of all shimmer palettes that I'm a big fan of. Again, Sugar Drizzle shimmers they do a lot of variety of shimmers. Like some are very smooth, some are more textural, but they never crease on me, and I've loved every single eyeshadow palette. Like the formula is to die for. I have absolutely loved their MILF palette, their Red Panda palette, but my favorite, the most reached out palette, I would say, is the Trashed palette. I love the variety of shimmers that are included in this. It's not overly like loud by any means. They're very sparkly. They're very like economical also, I would say. They're not like overpriced. I mean, is it a pricey palette? I think it's in 40s, but I would say like the variety of things that you're getting, the shifty shades that you're getting, this I can totally wear it to office without feeling like over the top. I really love the way how this sparkles and shines and how beautiful it is. So I had to recommend Trashed palette. But saying that, again, MILF palette, the Red Panda palette are like very like used palettes in my collection. But this is just a hair better of the color story for me. So I had to recommend this. Let's move on to It's Belle Cosmetics. Now, It's Belle Cosmetics has shut down, but I do have like majority of the palettes from them, and my favorite from them is the Pixie Grove palette. This palette gives us variety, and I love the quality of It's Belle palettes. This palette, of course, it's shouting autumn to me. It is so fall appropriate. It has those oranges, burgundy, greens, that murky army greens with pops of shimmers that are so pretty. Again, ITB Cosmetics shimmers are the other like brand that never crease on me, and they're giving us so much. They're giving us iridescent multichromes, they're giving us smoother multichromes, they're giving us traditional shimmers, but they're all very sparkly on the eyelids. This palette has been continuously been on the top of the charts. I cannot wait for them to come back into the business and create some magic with eyeshadow palettes even more, because I absolutely love their palettes. This is the brand that actually got me into multichromes and duochromes with their Break the Rules palette, and ever since I've been hooked. Okay, let's move on to Glamlight. Now, I don't own a lot of Glamlight palettes, but if I'm not talking like special shades, but if I'm talking like the most used palette from Glamlight, it is going to be the Chocolate Martini palette. I love this for a neutral person, for a mocha mousse lover. For 2025, I feel like this palette is so pretty. It gives us the variety. It gives us like those everyday shades that you can wear outside and about and not look like a clown. Not that any person would look like a clown or should feel awkward when they're wearing colors. I am more of like that neutral person, but I love to wear purples, as you can see in many of my videos. This palette is very easy on the eyes. It's very elegant looking too. It will give you the sparkle and the shine. I love the inclusion of this orange and this blurple shade. It gives us so much more variety in this palette because of that. But saying that, I've used this shade so much on my eyes, and the mattes are very creamy, blendable. I've absolutely loved Glamlight as a brand in general, and I feel like they also keep their prices pretty affordable. Where I get short of Glamlight is they do a lot of spooky palettes, and they tend to be like a lot more colorful or deep. I love a good like everyday palettes. That's the main reason why I do not have like a lot of palettes from them, but I do have like Dirty Martini, Chocolate Martini, Michaela palette, but I feel like Chocolate Martini definitely takes it up a notch for me just because I wear it much more. Okay, let's talk about Odins Eye. Odins Eye has a lot of palettes, which I absolutely love and adore. But I feel like this color story definitely took that up a notch for me. And this is the palette that is available, because there are a lot of palettes that I have from Odins Eye which are not available anymore. So there's no point talking about it. But Jewels and Gems from Odins Eye has definitely some unique color story. At the time when it came, this palette was the trend. Okay, this is such a beautiful color story, and the way the shimmers, the mattes blend together, they are just stunning. There's not been one look that I've worn out of this palette and I felt like I've always loved the looks that have come out of this palette. I especially love these shimmers so very much, and these mauvey tones and purpley tones, they're so pretty on the eyes. So pretty. I really love it. This is the brand that I wait for the holiday season to keep my eyes peeled out on what other palettes that they're coming out. But they definitely did disappoint me last when they came out with like a lighter pastel tone for holidays, because I definitely expect a lot out of them. Okay, let's talk about Nomad Cosmetics. Nomad Cosmetics again is a brand that has so many palettes that are so good in their collection. Again, being true to myself, I feel like this palette, whenever I wear it, I feel very pretty in it. The color story is so beautiful, and I'm talking about the Chicago Speakeasy palette. I can totally do a neutral look. I can do a rusty look. I can do my purpley mauvey looks with the pops of those greens. They make it so very special. I love the two rows are more mattes and the middle row is more multichromy. Really pretty, and the quality is there. These shimmers are very thin. They're very thin. They're not textured by any means, so you don't have to worry about like creasing or anything. They perform so beautifully on your eyes. They're very like sparkly and twinkly on the eyes, but without getting creases and texture on the eyelid. I feel like for a mature eyelid, if you have a lot of fine lines or something, this palette is going to be amazing. Let's talk about MBA Cosmetics. MBA Cosmetics Cosmetics. Again, I don't have their recent palettes that they have come out so far, and the recent palettes look absolutely amazing. That blue palette that they came out with, I cannot remember the name of it. The 9-pan palette, the blue color, sorry, I'm not even a blue lover, but that palette looks magical. But with the palettes that I already own, I feel like Sunset Beach is really, really good. This was in collaboration with Deandra Nicole. And if you love that sunset eyes, I feel like you will get so much of variety with this palette. This palette is absolutely amazing. They're pigmented, so you can go with like a lighter hand and you will get so much of variety on the eyes. The way it blends is beautiful. The only thing that I feel like these two colors are very similar to each other. We could have gotten a little more variety if we could have just kept one of these shades and could have bought like another green or something on the eyes for this. I really, really love this. Really, really very, very pretty on the eyes. I absolutely love this one. Okay, let's talk about Adept Cosmetics. I feel like you already know what I'm gonna say because I love that brand from my whole heart. And Adept Cosmetics is a brand, again, they do shadows like no other. They do shimmers in more like a puttier formula as well as like more like a smoother textured formula. And this is the brand, when they do that textured formula, not like creamy, I love it because that puttier formula definitely creases on me. So with all that said, I feel like my favorite palette from that brand is Flying Fiddles. This came high up in the ranking for 2024. You know, if you know, you know. I'll link it in the iCards above for you guys. This palette is well used in my collection, well traveled in my collection for a reason. I feel like this palette gives us so much variety. If you are a neutral wearer who wants to dip into colors and you want to dip into multi-chromes, this palette is for you. They're no textured, like they're very thin on the eyes, but they're so sparkly. They are so beautiful on the eyes. Amazing mattes and amazing shimmers. I've absolutely loved the quality of Adept Cosmetics. They're coming out with a new revamped Minka palette in February. If you know, you know. Oh my gosh, that baby is coming in my collection without a doubt. Okay, let's talk about Simply Posh Cosmetics. Simply Posh Cosmetics has a lot of palettes. I feel like I own every single palette that they have launched in their collection, and I am a proud affiliate for Simply Posh Cosmetics. But this palette touched my heart nerves to another level. But also, if you were eyeing this palette, now is the time to grab this palette. I am talking about the Cozy Cabin palette. This has a revamped packaging now. The packaging looks like the inside of the palette with those like wooden vibes. But this palette is just stunning, okay? Stunning. The color story is, I don't think it can be done better. It's so pretty. The way they do their gradients from like lighter tones to deeper tones and all the duochromes in the middle, I feel like this is another brand for a mature eyelid. You would absolutely love it. Their shimmers are very thinly formulated, but they're very shimmery and dimensional on the eyes. And with that gradient, there's no question about getting confused because you can just go column by column and you can get such beautiful 6 eyeshadow looks on your eyes. It's so pretty. Obviously, you can like hop around the palette too, but they make it easier for you. And this palette is so pretty, so pretty. I am actually using their face palette on my face today. I love that too. Like for my highlighter, I'm using that white and the pink shade, and it gives such a beautiful ethereal glow to the skin. So pretty. Love it. Okay, next let's talk about Wicked Widow Beauty. This is another brand that does eyeshadow palettes to the tippy top favorite formula. Okay, really pretty formula. The mattes are blendable, buildable. The shimmers are extremely beautiful. But my favorite out of the bunch is the Tales of Terrors palette from them. Oh my gosh, this color story is so beautiful. So beautiful. Perfect for Halloween season, everyday looks. You have everything gotten covered here. You can definitely go every day because you have those neutral tones, but you can get some beautiful green looks, some beautiful purple looks. They have some beautiful shifty shades in this. This shade, I wear it so often. Obviously, you can see the tip. It's so pretty on the eyes. I cannot even deal with this. Such a beautiful formula. If you love this color story of this grungy tones, you would absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Take my word for it. These are all like so beautiful palettes. I cannot even deal with it. Okay, let's talk about Glaminatrix Cosmetics. Glaminatrix Cosmetics, again, proud affiliate of Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I feel like they do palettes and color story in such a beautiful way. I get so excited for everything that they launch. I'm actually wearing their blush on my face today. Their liquid blushes are so pretty, so pretty. But my kids are running. Again, snow days, so they're getting in and out of the house all the time. But talking about their eyeshadow palettes, they do color stories. They do dimensional shimmers in such a beautiful way that I cannot even... Oh, they're so, so beautiful. My favorite, most used palette, I would say. This was difficult, okay? Because Rich Romantic palette and this palette is very close to each other because I love them both very, very much. But this palette just took a notch high a little bit is the Barely Basic palette. This palette's color story and the way they have set it up in such a beautiful way. This is so pretty for like a neutral wearer. You can just go column by column and you can get some cohesive looks. You don't even need to use all of the shades, but they're giving you variety of light, medium, and deep mattes. They're giving you some shimmery eyeshadows here in the second row, and the top row is full of iridescent multichromes and duochromes that would shift the eyeshadow look on the basis of whatever mattes you're pairing it up with. It is genius color story. I know that they're working on another like neutral palette that they already had in their collection. They're just revamping it. I cannot wait to see the color story inside because I know they're gonna nail it. They do neutral color stories in such a beautiful way. Oh, my heart. It starts beating so fast as soon as they start revealing what they're gonna come out with. So pretty. Okay, let's talk about Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Again, I don't own everything from Blend Bunny Cosmetics because they do tend to come out with a lot of rainbow palettes, according to me. I definitely don't feel like they're doing dupes of each other, but I feel like there are tones that would look nice on you. If you know those tones, you would absolutely love the palette that is for you. But for me, I would say this palette has completely captured my heart. And this is the Sugar and the Grunge palette. Unfortunately, this is not available anymore. It's not like long gone. It was available on their website for a long time, but they are going to do something with the packaging. I think there was some kind of a legal issue with the Sugar and the Grunge name. They're going to come back with this palette, but the color story is so pretty, you guys. So pretty. I love that they have like some pastel tones, some muted tones, and these shimmers are also so very pretty. I really was like thinking this or Longing next to each other, but I feel like this definitely resonates with me a little bit more. I love a good like muted color story, a little grungy color story, and this just calls out to me. I really could not recommend this, so I definitely had to mention Sugar and Grunge palette. Okay, let's talk about Ensley Reign Cosmetics. You know how much I love that brand, okay? I really let's keep the controversy on the side, okay? I'm not going to address this again and again because I've addressed this in a lot of videos, but I cannot deny that the palettes that I own from Ensley Reign Cosmetics are absolutely top tier palettes, okay? And I own and use those palettes so much that I feel I'm lying to you if I'm not mentioning the palette that I love the most. But keeping everything aside and just talking about makeup color story formula from the Ensley Reign brand, the number one palette that gives me, and I would definitely go and buy again if this palette goes out of my hand, is the Cold Moon palette. This palette is so pretty. I feel like this is where the trend was started with this like muted, grungy, cool tone color story. This palette is created beautifully, and if you were like eyeing like multichromes, single multichromes from different brands, this palette is full of those shifty shades that you would absolutely love. Especially if you love this kind of a color story, you would love it. Actually, if you love any color story from them, I feel like those shades, those shimmers, those mattes, they perform absolutely exceptionally well. You do not need to use any glitter glue with these shadows, especially the ones that have like texture on it. Just smoothen it out with your fingers and apply it without the glitter glue, and it will not crease on you. Again, I do have a creasy eyelid, that's why I'm telling you, but they do have like smoother shimmers everywhere, which performs outstandingly well. And their mattes, I've always said that I'm a big fan of their mattes, and this palette undoubtedly is definitely my favorite. Again, I'm not an affiliate anymore, but that would not change any opinion that I have for the palettes. Okay, let's move on to Cosmic Beauty. Cosmic Beauty, I have 3 palettes from them so far. I feel like with every release, they go better and better on the quality, and I have to recommend this palette, and this is Tis the Season palette. This palette, of course, it's a holiday palette. I don't know if it's going to be limited edition or they're going to keep it for a long time or not. But this color story, I feel like I can wear it year long. I totally can wear it year long. I love this color story. I love the variety. Is it a rainbow palette? I won't think so. I don't think so. I don't see it as a rainbow palette. I feel like it is a colorful palette, but it is so cohesive that all these color story marry with each other so very nicely that I had to recommend this. This is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. I cannot wait to see what Cosmic Beauty has for future. I'm not an affiliate with the brand, but I would happily accept it if they approach. But this is so pretty. I definitely have so much of good expectations with this brand. So pretty. And last, certainly not the least, we have Unearthly Cosmetics. Now, if you know me, you know which is the palette that is the best palette from them. If you've seen my 2024 rankings, you exactly know which palette touches my heartstrings in such an amazing way. I feel like this is an absolute genius color story that was curated. You can get variety, you can get textures, you can get some beautiful shimmery eyelids without getting creases. There's so much you can do with this palette, and I'm talking about Just a Taste palette. This palette is perfection. Perfection. So pretty. You can get some warmer tone looks, but cooler tone looks. They give us so much of variety with this palette. It is so pretty. Again, this is muted, grungy, but colorful. Just perfect for me. I love this palette so very much. I cannot recommend this enough. I feel like this is, for a reason, oh my gosh, people's favorite. Like, I love this palette so very much. The only palette I feel like that I'm eyeing and I'm missing is the Not Normal Remastered palette from them. I definitely have my eyes on it. I really have loved every single eyeshadow palette that I've owned from them, and this brand was difficult for me. I knew what was my number one, but if you ask me to rank those palettes, it's going to be very tough because I've loved every single one of them. The Fall Magic palette, the Sorcerer's Smoke palette, what's that Jellyfish palette? I'm looking there because I have all the packages there. But everything has been so beautiful from that brand that I've loved everything that I bought from them. I cannot be more proud of that brand and cannot wait to see what they have coming for us in 2025. But that's all for today. If you love this video, if you love me talking about eyeshadow palettes, do give it a thumbs up. But now let's move on to the eye look that I created using the Bella Beaute Bar Dead Roses palette. Let's begin with our look. I am going to take my Bella Beaute Bar Dead Roses palette. I love this palette. Let's begin. I'm going to start off with this shade, You Wish. And this is such a beautiful transitioning shade. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just blend it all across the transition area, and this will help to just blend out and smooth out the eyeshadow so beautifully. Now I'm going to take this shade, ABCDEFU. I love the shade names. Okay, let's take that. It's a beautiful dusty purple shade. I also know that this palette is available right now on Bella Beaute Bar's website, so definitely make sure to grab it, especially if you are a fan of pinks and purple. You would absolutely love it. I have a little bit of fallout here, but don't you worry. Look how pigmented these shades are, and this palette is so beautiful and so pigmented, so blendable. Really pretty. So once we have that, I'm just going to take a powder brush and just wipe it right off right there. I'm gonna take a smaller brush with the same shade and blend it on the lower lash line just for cohesiveness. Of course, now you have known that I'm gonna do like a halo eye. So now I'm gonna take this shade, which is You're the Worst, and then I'm gonna just deepen it out on the outer and the inner corner. And it will cool out the look because it's more like a deeper purple, like an blue purple shade, I would say, like a blur purple shade. So I'm just tapping and that would do the job. Going back into the brush that we use that purple with, I'm just taking that with no additional product. I'm just joining, just so that you can either keep it like joined or you can keep it like a spotlight eye. For today's look, I just want to join it just so that we have something on the crease. I'm not adding anything on the brush, just blending whatever was there on the brush just for the smooth gradient. Okay, once we have that, let's move on to the shimmer. That's the question. What shimmer are we going to use? You know how much I love this. I love all the shimmers. I love this. This is so pretty. I've already done a video with all these shades. I think it was 3, if not 5. I am going to let's take this shade. This is As If. And I'm going to take that right there in the inner part. It is going to be like a smoky eye. I actually have to take pictures, not because I'm doing the look. It's a snow day here today. And I am excited. My pictures will be all purple with snow in the background. Look how stunning that is. I love it. Once we have that, I am going to just take my blending brush with that transitional shade and just blend everything out. Okay, now I'm going to take a smaller brush with this shade Drop Dead. This is my favorite shade of the palette. It's so pretty. I'm going to take that in the inner corner. You can see how vibrant and fiery it is. Just take that right there. And I'm also going to take a little bit on the center of my eyelid just to give that additional dimensional pop. Just right there. Can you see that difference? Let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara and I'll get right back. And that's my final look. You know how much I love my purples, and this palette is truly so very special. Of course you know it because you've seen all the video. I paired this look up with the lips, and this is Fenty Beauty's Gloss Bomb Sticks, and this one is in the shade Spiced Gold. So that's what I have on my lips, and I love the way how this turned out. Of course, if I was going out or something, I would pair this up with like a matte lip and something like this. Jason Wu's lipstick in the shade Danish. This has that purpley effect to it that will also go so beautifully with this look. So yeah, now let's move on to the outro. That's all. If you did like my video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.